Hi, everyone. Blair Tushaus here again, partner here at Tushaus Wealth Management. Today, I will be going into my buffer of the week or buffer of the month, whatever we want to call it. I'm Buffer Blair, and we're going to dive into a unique tool and investment that I have specifically picked my top buffer, at least for this month. And who knows, tomorrow it may change, but I do know what we do know, which is what has happened already in the current market affairs and what buffer I specifically want to choose right now. What has happened? Well, the Iran conflict, and we saw a drawdown, an oil spike, and really we saw some volatility, followed by in April a significant gain. So, a recap on buffers. There's four main components. There's the indice we follow, like the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Russell, the we can follow a specific stock. But whatever it is, whatever buffer we choose something we follow the investment over a certain period of time. That time could be a month, it could be 2 years, and anywhere in between. Of course, we go past 2 years, but that's few and far in between. And then we have a certain level of downside protection. That's called the buffer. We buffer out losses. It's protection against the downside. We're not going to get on a highway without a seatbelt or, making sure there's four wheels on the car, right? Why would we do that with our investments? And then fourth component is the upside. What is that buffer bringing us? So this is the buffer pick of the month or the week, whatever you want to call it. It is a defined position that we have created specifically for our clients. Okay, so it's only something our clients can get this second, but it's a buffer we created over 1 quarter. Okay, so that's 3 months. It has a 10% buffer, 10% buffer over 3 months. For us, we decided to follow the S&P 500. It has volatility, but not as volatile as maybe the Nasdaq or the QQQs, which, for those who may not know, the QQQs and the Nasdaq, they're more tech heavy. S&P is a little bit, it's the 500 largest companies, not equally weighted, so there is heavier weight to, the top dogs, but there is some tech, but there's other sectors as well. Kind of more of a large cap index, whereas Russell's more small cap. Anyways, we chose the S&P 500 and we followed it over 3 months or 1 quarter. And really what we saw was it has a 10% buffer over 1 quarter, and look at where the market went in the first quarter. Anywhere, I think from peak to trough, is down 8.5, 9.5, basically just a hair under that 10%. So somebody, the people that we have worked with here did not experience any losses in the Q1 utilizing that position. They had buffed out because they had 10% buffer and it was within that range, all those losses. Now, Blair, what if the market went down 11%? It definitely could have. And you know what? Our clients would have all, only been down 1%. They had that 10% buffer, and if the market was down 11, well, so be it. They were only down 1. So what a great position. Okay, Blair, what's the upside? Well, the upside on this was 4.36, 4.36%. Think about that. Think about the risk reward. Now, this isn't 4.36 as an annual return because remember, this is just quarter length. If we multiply that by 4 quarters in the year, that could get us 17.44% with 10% buffer every quarter, 10 first, second, third, fourth. You add the buffers up over 4 quarters, that's like having 40% buffer. Of course, we don't know how long drawdowns occur, how fast, how prolonged they are. But having that short duration on 10% was the perfect risk reward for those clients. 4.36 on the upside gives us way more upside than we were even seeking for that amount of buffer. But hey, they're going to give it to us. As far as this specific investment entails, yes. So again, we followed the S&P 500 over 1 quarter. We had a 10% buffer, and we were able to achieve 4.36 percent return if the market proceeded up. So first quarter, okay, they were completely buffed out. Now we are into Q2, and guess what? The market's going up. And guess what our clients are getting? They are achieving that upside potential and into that 4.36%. And guess what? An investment like this, you're not stuck into it. You don't have to hold it the whole quarter. The second you get your 4.36% in this example, we sell it and we go to the next buffer. And that's what proper wealth management should be providing for you. Risk reward analysis, using different buffers or different downside hedging to upside potential in different market scenarios. We knew this was a midterm election. We knew volatility would occur. And this kind of risk reward, the 10 to the upside 4.36, was just what we were looking for and did its job. It's continuing to do its job, and we expected to do it. In a month or two, or maybe later down the road, we may think of different buffers. I will say that we use multiple buffers for all our clients, different levels of protection, different degrees of downside buffers versus different levels of upside potential. We have some with less buffer and more upside or longer durations. So that is my buffer pick of the month, and we're excited to use it. If you want to reach out and learn more about this specific buffer or how other buffers may work in your portfolio, please feel free to reach out. I got my information below, tushausgroup.com. Physical locations in Scottsdale here and in San Diego. I look forward to having that conversation. And until next time, we will look forward to talking again about what new buffers may be coming up in the upcoming months. All right, guys, take care.